Hey there, MJ traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on the Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Also home to the best MJ community. Today is Thursday, May 9th. I hope you're doing well. And in this video, we're going to be discussing rescheduling versus descheduling. We're going to be talking about the possibilities of bypassing Schedule 3 and fully descheduling it and being on the same level playing field as alcohol and tobacco. I think this possibility is gaining some real possibility, and each day that goes by, we get more and more data. And to be clear, I do think that the most likely scenario is we get Schedule 3 enactment. But I think there's a slight chance, maybe a 20% chance, 10 to 20% chance, maybe now even 30% chance that we get descheduling. And in this video, I'm going to go over my reasoning, and I would love to hear your comments in the comment section below, your thoughts and opinions. If you agree with me, disagree with me, I always love hearing from you, and we'll continue the conversation in the comment section below. Before we get to it though, this is my own opinion and not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You should never buy or sell based on anything that I say or anything that I write. And full disclosure, I do own a lot of these MJ stocks that I talk about, right? So you need to do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. So what might be good for me might not be good for you. And before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And you can follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. The handle for that is @GroupPow. I'm going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. If you haven't seen my recent interview with Morgan Fox, political director at Normal, it was a conversation with him regarding rescheduling, descheduling. We talk about it a little bit in there as well, about the descheduling possibilities. But essentially is, with rescheduling, this could take up to, could take years. And, it has to go through OMB review, which can take up to 90 days, public comment period, 30 to 90 days, administrative hearing, which could take several months to a year if granted. Then the DEA has to review it again, and then the final ruling, and then there's the judicial review as well, which could take multiple years. So because of this fact, I think that increases the odds that we could see bypassing of Schedule 3 to descheduling. And a lot of industry advocates are saying that descheduling isn't enough. And Morgan Fox says in this video that, it helps with 280E, but it really doesn't change any of the other barriers to entry and research and things like that, right? Decriminalization and full-blown legalization. So ultimately, I think that we're each and every day, as time goes by, we're starting to see more and more evidence and odds that we could potentially see it descheduled as opposed to rescheduled. Because like I said, even people who are pro MJ, they're advocating for the MJ industry. They love their industry participants. They're saying a lot of the chatter right now and narrative is rescheduling isn't enough. While it's great, it's a step in the right direction and the domino to fall to many dominoes, right, on the path to full-blown federal legalization in the U.S., but it's not enough, and I would agree. And the Justice Department plans to reschedule MJ as a lower risk drug. So we know that DEA came out, that news came out on April 30th, stocks skyrocketed, and we pretty much gave back that whole entire move. If you look at MSOS ETF, it gave back the entire move. And then shortly after that, U.S. senators reintroduced bill to legalize MJ. So a group of 18 Democratic senators this week reintroduced a bill to legalize MJ nationwide. So that's the CAOA, and that was on May 2nd, right, just after that. So we know that there's the States Act as well, but more than likely what's going to happen is we need Congress to act, right? Congress put the CSA in the 70s, and that's, they enacted that. They're the ones that put the CSA in place. So they're more than likely going to have to be the ones to deschedule it and create laws to deschedule it, right? And it's an election year as well. So if we see the Dems take control of the House and have the Senate, we'll see what happens with regards to the White House. I'm in Canada. I'm not on either side of the aisle. It's not political, but I just want what's best for MJ, right? And it looks like Trump's really starting to promote crypto. So it looks like it's going to be a crypto versus MJ type of, which is going to be awesome to see, because that's, our secondary focus on this channel is crypto. But our main focus, 80 to 90% of the content is MJ. But interesting that we're getting all of this at the same time. You have the States Act. They even mentioned, if you go to my Ann Milgram video, go to videos, I posted here, it was a live stream, and then I did a clip as well right here, short clip of DA's Ann Milgram. She won't comment. It's ongoing conflict of interest. But this gentleman says, it should be basically up to the states as well. So we're getting some major clues here. And like I said, it's interesting that this is all coming at the same time. And then everybody's saying, well, what about international treaties? Well, remember this article. UN says Canada says the UN never bothered them about legal MJ violating treaties. Prime Minister says as US weighs rescheduling international implications. And Morgan Fox talks about this as well. and gives his thoughts and opinions, and he doesn't think it's a big idea or a big issue if they were to go with that idea and actually deschedule it. So that is very interesting, and then something that increases the odds as well. Again, as time goes on, as we get more data, as we get days go by, we get more and more information, and we can look at the most probable scenario and the most likely scenario, right? And the fact that Germany's Pillar 2 is already being worked on and could be here far sooner than expected, as reported by the Business of MJ, and I've done a video on this as well. This, like most people, myself included, thought this was going to be 2025, 2026, where we see for-profit, the commercial sales, right? Right now, it's just, possession, cultivation, social clubs, that type of thing, not for profit, and medical, whereas this is going to be for-profit and commercial sales. So they're looking to fast-track that. And then we also have NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, right? And, Mexico and Canada. So I think the U.S. is going to be, they never want to be first, but they never want to be last either. And if Germany's going to be fast-tracking to Pillar 2 and commercial sales, then what's the rest of the EU going to feel pressure to do? More than likely, more of the same, right? And then what's the U.S. going to want to do there? Like, this increases the odds that we get descheduling, in my opinion, and I'm curious to hear everybody's thoughts and opinions on this. And then also, the FDA said that there's no reason for the DEA to delay rescheduling. And then on top of everything that I said about the comment period and the DEA review and, the OMB, you have to think there's no precedent set for, a botanical drug in the FDA. So that this could cost, a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars. And then also the time that it would take. So you couple that with, all of the review period here and public comment period and the judicial, all the lawsuits that could come. This could literally, there was an article saying it could literally take 7 years for this to happen, to get rescheduled. So I think more and more, I'm almost at like a 30-40% possibility now, maybe even a coin flip 50-50% chance that this gets descheduled. And as we know, markets can do one of three things: up, down, or sideways. And we always have to expect a surprise. And what markets are is forward looking, and what they are not factoring in right now and looking at into the future is the possibility of descheduling versus rescheduling, because that's ultimately where we're going to end up, right? It has no business being on there. Alcohol and tobacco should be on Schedule 1 versus MJ, right? MJ should be on its own pedestal. It's medicine versus poison, right? HHS, 250 plus pages worth of science. Like, follow the science, right? Follow the states that have already legalized. Look at all the data. There's less and less young people that have access to it after legalization, right? So there's so much data here, and we just have to follow the science. So like I said, this is looking good. And then also this time around, you have Uber partnering with Leafly. You have Uber backing it, all these big corporations and financial conglomerates, right? These big Fortune 500 companies and big tech mega cap names like Apple and Amazon Apple secretly joined Amazon in advancing commercial MJ reform. So like I said, I think this time is different. And the fact that this could take so long is going to increase the odds. And as we know, safer banking gaining traction as well. If we get rescheduling, they have to follow the science. The White House has yet to comment, but in my opinion, that's just them being ambiguous for a reason, keeping that FUD out there, that fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Is it happening? Is it not happening? Right? But let me know your thoughts and opinions. I want to keep this video short as well. And like I said, I want to continue the comments, look at the comments, continue the conversation there, because I think this is a real possibility. And you heard it here first, right? And again, I've been saying that Schedule 3 was pretty much a done deal. It's either that or descheduling. And the more that time passes, I'm starting to think that there's a real chance here, and we're almost at a coin flip, in my opinion, that we could potentially get descheduling as the most likely scenario. And banking, uplisting to the NYSE and the NASDAQ. We know that the NASDAQ has said that they're starting to warm up to Canadian companies with U.S. operations, which we know SNDL, Canopy now creating a type of special purpose vehicle where, they're creating an exchangeable share structure where there's non-voting rights, and they have a U.S. entity, and they're putting all the U.S. assets under that. And Cureleaf, Boris Jordan, said that they've been in contact and in talks with a U.S. major exchange about potential uplisting. So we could see uplisting, and what usually comes after uplisting and the Wall Street banks getting positioned, like your J.P. Morgans, your Morgan Stanleys, your Goldman Sachs, your BlackRocks, nothing happens without them. What happens after they get positioned? More than likely, meaningful reform. And what could that meaningful reform be? I'm thinking there's a good possibility of descheduling. So let me know if this video was helpful. If it was, I would appreciate a like, subscribe, share the video with your network to anybody that might find this video helpful and valuable. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. I wish you a fantastic day, and we'll see you again on the next video.